Hello and welcome to the Imagine AI Live podcast. I'm your host for this event, Sharon Eek, and we are here in New York City for the first Impact event. And I have a special guest with me right now. I have Michael.
I am one of the co-founders of AITX. We're an IRL meetup community in Austin, Texas that started last year. Weekly newsletter that comes out, and I also make content around how to use AI for your content processes.
Awesome. So what are those meetups like? Tell me a little bit about your meetup.
Yeah, so every month we have 3 to 4 founders kind of come up with a 90-second lightning talk about what they're working on. They present to the entire community, and then they do something, I like to call it kind of like a science fair and pizza at the same time, because we have desktop monitors set up around the room, and then people just walk around, they just ask questions, they get to know each other. So that's pretty much it. Yeah.
Awesome. And how long has that been going on?
About 1.5 years, I'd say now.
Nice. And how many members do you have, or do you keep track of membership?
Kind of. So on our Luma calendar, we have like 800 people registered to subscribe to the calendar, and 850-ish people on the newsletter, and about 100 people coming to every meetup.
Nice. And where did this idea come from?
So one of the co-founders who had the original idea, Jake, he met me at South by Southwest, and we were talking about, hey, there's no AI events in Austin. What can we do? And so I guess we just identified a gap in the market, and we threw up a Luma calendar. The first event was kind of a success, I'd say, maybe like 20 people, and we just kept going every month.
Nice. And then you said you create content surrounding that. So is it based on the events, or what do you create content regarding?
It's more around like my personal interest with how I use AI, which is kind of like automating content processes, especially with newsletters, because that's where I spend a lot of the time for AITX. So repurposing long form content into short form, like Twitter, LinkedIn, all that stuff. And really, it's not about like making a content factory, like just pump, but more like, how do I just take away all the menial tasks so I can focus more of my creative efforts on the business, my life, and my relationships.
Interesting. So how have you implemented AI to accomplish that?
So I use a lot of I know people use Zapier. I use make.com. It's kind of like the alternative to Zapier. And so I'll just hook up a lot of webhooks for different things. Like when I post Beehive newsletters, I'll have it automatically just turn it into LinkedIn posts, Twitter posts, and all that stuff. And mainly, it's really a lot of that. And also, I'd say I use the term augmented intelligence instead of artificial intelligence, where I'm the augmented intelligence. And so, like for people that come on my channel, if I'm interviewing somebody, I'll just have some simple automation that maybe saves me 10 minutes to say, oh, go just scrape all of their websites, give me a question set that goes to Google Doc, and then I can just share the Google Doc with them, and so they get primed for the interview. So anything that's going to save me 10 to 20 minutes of time, but over the course of a couple weeks actually saves me a lot of time.
So you create videos surrounding how you do exactly that?
Yes, yeah.
I will be watching these. There are several things you've said already that I need to learn how to do.
Awesome.
Awesome, great. So how did you get connected with the Imagine AI Live community then?
Actually, I reached out to Chris on Twitter to have him on my channel, because I was like, hey, you are doing stuff with AI. Also, you're doing an AI conference and have a community. I have one. If you come down to Texas, would love to collaborate.
Yeah.
And so I had him on the podcast, and then he connected me to Steve, and then Steve said you should come to this.
Amazing. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you.
I'm having a great time.
Good. Awesome. So we're here at Cornell Tech on a college campus. What would you say to people that are going into university or in university about what they should implement into their education surrounding AI and tech?
I would say, honestly, there's a really good book I read called, I think it's How Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World. And so I think just really focusing on how you learn to learn is super important. Being very organized with your notes, because you're going to have a lot of them as you're learning by yourself. And don't just treat university as like a 4-year stint and then stop learning, because once you do that, you're going to kind of probably fall behind. So I would say that's probably something I would recommend.
And another question I have on that note, do you think that a university education is necessary for people that are wanting to get out there in tech and AI?
I think it depends, honestly. If you're going into like the deeper technical side, you probably need, a PhD or a master's or something like that. But if you're more of that entrepreneur and you have the idea that you want, I honestly think you're just going to learn by doing more. So it's a balance. I would say it depends on what you want, I would say, but I would say most of the stuff that is not deeply technical, you can probably figure out by yourself.
Yeah. Learn from YouTube.
Yes, learn from YouTube.
Exactly. So are there any concerns that you have or challenges that you see with the future of AI?
I think just the fact that so many people are still like, not seeing how valuable it's going to be. And I think, there's these shifts that happen through history, like the Industrial Revolution and before that. But this one just feels like it's going to happen faster than the previous ones in a way that I don't think we're really prepared for. So I would really hope that more people kind of took it more seriously, just in terms of safety too. Like, deep fakes are a really big problem.
Yeah.
Those are already, I think one of my grandparents actually had a call from one of those. It's really,
Yeah.
it's already hitting people like at the home,
Yeah.
and not even being aware of this technology existing yet is making you more susceptible to people that are more, I'd say, opportunistic in the negative sense.
Yep.
To take advantage of you.
Yeah. So on the flip side of that, what are your hopes for AI, or how do you see it being beneficial moving forward?
I think really just the power of an idea has never been more powerful than right now. So like being able to manifest whatever you want as quickly as possible, I think is going to give more people the ability to actually try their ideas and not really be, held back by all these limitations. Like you literally will be able to do it by yourself or with a small team.
Wow. Yeah, that's powerful. Very powerful. So I have one last question for you today. If there is someone out there watching this that is thinking about coming to an Imagine AI live event, what would you say to them?
I would say definitely go because the people that I've met here so far span the gamut from, deeply technical to just like all business, but they're all just have so much enthusiasm around AI, and they're all using it for different things. So I'm getting to see all these different perspectives of how they're using it, and that makes me reflect on like, oh my God, I didn't even think of that. So that is why I would go.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Appreciate your time and enjoy the rest of your event.
Thank you.